the Hiroshima bomb was exploded at a height of 580 meters, which is 1870 feet, for maximum effect. The bomb's explosive force then shot directly down to the earth, which is called ground zero, and spread swiftly out to the surrounding hills, and then rebounded back to the city to make even more devastation. So, say this blast is equivalent to 15,000 metric tons of trinitrotoluene, or TNT. So, how big is that bomb? Okay, so what I've tried to do here is, this is America's biggest airdrop bomb, and it's called Massive Ordnance Air Blast, or MOAB, and also called the mother of all bombs. And this thing is pretty big, but more important, it's got a blast yield of 11 tons of TNT. So here's our, this is to scale, here's our little boy here. So one of these is equivalent, if we divide this by 11, to 1,364 of these bombs. Okay, so if we arrange those, and we arrange two end to end, it gives us, because they're 30 feet long, so it gives us 70 feet. And if we then line up more of these, so we have 18 rows of two, we end up with a 70 foot by 70 foot. Now, to get 1,364, we'd have to have 38 layers of this. So we'd end up with this massive tower that's 70 by 70 by 129 feet high, with 1,364 bombs associated with it. Okay, so that's pretty big, and that went off basically 580 meters above ground zero. Now let's have a look at that explosion. So here's the mother of all bombs, or massive ordnance airburst, or whatever it was called, and this is basically 1/1400th of the Hiroshima bomb explosion. So let's take a look at that explosion now. Okay, so pretty big. Imagine multiplying that by 1,400 times. Okay, so let's have another look at a TNT blast. So this was an experiment where they moored up two naval boats out to sea, and this here is a 500-ton mound of TNT. Now this is 1/30th of the Hiroshima explosion. So let's take a look at that explosion. So it looks very familiar, doesn't it? Just like the nukes. I wonder why. And clearly the blast wave has knocked down the barrage balloons, hit the boats quite hard. See here. Bang, it's knocked the masts off. Look at that. Bear in mind it knocked the masts off. Just think about that when we see the photos of Hiroshima. So it does look very similar to some of the nukes we've seen. Those are the barrage balloons that are torn to shreds by the shock wave. Look at that. And this is the wall of the ship, all bent in, deformed. This wall actually caves in from the blast. There we go. It's lost its radar. And these are all the stones and things hitting the sea. So there you go. So in summary, you saw that massive effect. It blew masts off. It blew the sides in on the superstructure. It did lots and lots of damage to those boats. But those boats, looking at this, was probably, I don't know, what's these, about, I don't know, 500 feet long or something like that. So it was probably 1,000 feet away from this explosion. And we were almost twice that far away for the explosion in Hiroshima, or the alleged explosion, but the bomb was 30 times greater. Can you imagine what would happen to these boats if this was 30 times bigger than that? They would be blown to bits. So you'd expect anything in ground zero to be blown to bits. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is the Atomic Bomb Dome Memorial, and it's basically 580 meters below the detonation point and very, very close. It was almost directly overhead. So this is just showing you what it looks like today and where it is. And this here is the T-bridge that there was allegedly the aiming point for the bomb blast. Okay, so here it is. So here's the T-bridge. This is after the explosion, and I've blown this up to show you it's that building. And what you can see is all these buildings here are basically concrete structures. Now, everything around here that's gone was probably wooden structures, because most Japanese buildings at that time were wooden structures. But what I want you to see is that bomb's gone off. The bridges are still intact. The lights on the bridges are still there. You can see them here. This building is still here. These roofs haven't been blasted down and squashed. There's not debris everywhere. We've got a bomb 30 times more than that TNT explosion going off, just 1,800 feet above it. And these were directly in that blast wave. Why are they still there? Why is there anything there? Why can you see telephone poles there? So here's that building. So just to bring that home, this is where the bomb allegedly detonated. This was the aiming point. Here's that structure here. So you imagine this is 1,800 feet. There's not much difference in height, distance between this one, and that bomb's just gone off. All the bridges are intact. All these buildings here are intact. So here it is. So we've got this metal structure here is still intact. It's not bent. It's not been blown in. And we've had that monstrous explosion above. We've got the masts were blown off the ship. Look at this flimsy thing here. It's still there. The trees are there. The telephone poles are there. But they do look burnt. I'll give you that. They do look burnt. And look at this structure. Why is this still standing? Why hasn't this been flattened and obliterated? Look at it. It doesn't make sense to me. After seeing that bomb blast we've just seen. Oh, 30 times more in it. So here's that structure highlighted. Trees everywhere, telegraph poles, you name it, are still there. They haven't been blown over by the blast. There's one here, look. What's going on? Look at all the trees and things here. Is this just fire damage? Where's the blast? Why isn't this all contorted and smashed in? Why is this still standing? Okay, so here's another showing these roofs. That massive blast has borne down basically on this surface here. This one's fallen in, but these are still there. Even the little huts on the top are still there. But all the wooden structure houses, they've all gone. And here's another photograph. Here's the dome that's still around today. But two buses. They've both landed on their wheels, on the ground, with the rubbish piled up around them. Why haven't these been blown firstly to contorted wrecks? And why are they sitting on their wheels? Have they just been burnt out? Is it fire damage? Makes no sense to me. No sense whatsoever. Okay, so here's a couple of images. Now you might think these are both atomic bombs, but one of them is atomic bomb and one of them is fire damage from firebombing. So I'll give you a clue. We've seen this T-bridge, so this is Hiroshima. This one here is Tokyo, firebombed. Look, does this look the same? There's telegraph poles here, and there's various structures as we've seen in the other one. You can even see lights on the bridge, poles on the bridge. We saw all these as telegraph poles here. This is a firebomb. This isn't a nuke. Just the same as this. Look, exactly the same. Why are these bridges still standing when they've had the world's biggest ever explosion by many factors blasted overhead. We've had 1,364 mother of all bombs go off. We've had 3,500 tons of TNT exploded above. How can that be? Yeah. So, my conclusion is we've got all the code to show that nukes are fake. We've also got the evidence staring us in the face. From the bomb blast, it doesn't look like it's been decimated by a big bomb. It looks like it's been firebombed. It's exactly the same as Tokyo. So just start to put things together and look at things objectively instead of believing everything you see. So this just summarizes it. This one is equal to this. Nukes are a pile of bollocks. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.